Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. So we are studying our first lesson, that is a voyage to Brobdingnag. Last time we have done page number 11. Today we are going to study page number 12. So let's start it. It now began to be known and talked about in the neighborhood that my master had found a strange animal in the fields. Gulliver is telling you that now I became talk of the town. People started talking about me, that my master had found a strange creature, strange animal in the fields, about the size of a Brobdingnag. People started comparing Gulliver with an animal, okay, Brobdingnag, an animal in that country which was about 6 feet long, but exactly shaped in every part like a human being, which it imitated, which it copied, and all its actions, it seemed to speak in a little language of its own, had already learned several words of theirs, went erect upon 2 legs, went straight upon 2 legs, was tame, okay, that animal Brobdingnag was tame, was helpful, cooperative, and gentle and kind. Okay, gentle means kind. Would come when it was called, do whatever it was bid, do whatever it was bid, it was offered. सब कुछ करता जो उसको काम दिया जाता. Had the finest limbs in the world, had the finest arms and legs, okay, limbs, arms and legs, and a complexion fairer than a nobleman's 3-year-old daughter, and a complexion and a face, complexion means face, like a nobleman's 3-year-old daughter. Now who is a nobleman? One who belongs to aristocratic class, high class of the society. Another farmer who lived nearby and was a particular friend of my master came on a visit to inquire into the truth of this story, to seek information, to inquire, to seek information. I was immediately produced and placed upon a table, where I walked as I was commanded, as I was directed, instructed. Okay, paid my respects to my master's guest. Paid my respects to my master's guest. Asked him in his own language how he was, and told him he was welcome, just as my little nurse had instructed me. This man, who was old and dim-sighted, who was old and almost blind, with reduced vision, put on his spectacles, glasses, put on his glasses to see me better, at which I couldn't help laughing very heartily. Heartily means sincerely. I couldn't help laughing very heartily. Gulliver is telling you that Honestly speaking, I was unable to stop my laughing. Okay, I was unable to stop laughing. For his eyes appeared like the full moon shining into a chamber through two windows. For because his eyes appeared like the full moon shining into a chamber through two windows. This made the old fellow angry, and as if in retaliation, he advised, and as if in response, he suggested my master to display me on market day in the next town, which was a half-hour ride, about 2 and 20 miles from our house. I guessed there was some mischief, there was some badness, when I observed my master and his friend whispering, murmuring long together, sometimes pointing at me, and my fears made me to think, to imagine that I overheard and understood some of their words. But the next morning, Glumdalclitch, my little nurse, told me the whole matter, which she had cleverly learned from her mother. The poor girl laid me on her chest and began to cry. She felt worried. That harm would be done to me by some crude people, by some rough people, by some hard people, who might squeeze me, who might press me to death, okay, or break one of my limbs by taking me in their hands, in their giant hands, okay, bade bade haath. She had also observed how modest I was by nature. She had also observed how simple I was, okay, modest, simple I was by nature, and what an indignity, what an insult I would feel to be exposed for money as a public spectacle, as a public display. Here spectacle means display, okay. I was myself less worried than my nurse, as I had a strong hope which never left me that I would one day regain my liberty, my freedom. Okay, now Gulliver is telling you that finally my master decided to display me in the market, and as a result, my little nurse Glumdalclitch, she was quite worried about me, that something wrong could be done to me, okay, by those crude people, okay, by those rough people, hard people. He is saying that on the other hand, I was quite confident, okay, I was quite confident that one day I would regain, okay, my freedom, that the day will come that I'll be free. Following the advice of his friend, my master carried me in a box the next market day to the neighboring town, and took along with him his little daughter, my nurse, on pillion behind him. Pillion, a seat behind the driver. The box was closed on every side with a little door for me to go in and out, and a few holes to let in air. The girl had been thoughtful enough to put her doll's quilt into it. The girl had been attentive enough to put her doll's blanket into it for me to lie on. However, I was terribly shaken by the end of the journey, though it was only for half an hour, for the horse went about 40 feet at every step and trotted so high that okay, here you can estimate, you can guess the size of the horse that went about 40 feet at every step. हर कदम उसका था वो 40 feet का था. Big horse, and trotted